Hey, welcome to Think Thursday from the Alcohol Minimalist Podcast. Think Thursday is all about your beautiful, brilliant human brain. We're talking neuroscience. We're talking behavior change. We are talking about your mindset. Are you ready to get started? Let's go. Hey, it's Molly, and welcome to Think Thursday from the Alcohol Minimalist. These episodes are your quick dose of science and mindset and neuroscience and practical strategies to help you change habits that no longer serve you and build a life that feels good from the inside out. Today, I want to talk to you about something that gets completely overlooked in most conversations about behavior change, especially around this time of the year in January when there's so many of us trying to change our behavior. This is not about a perfect meal plan or a bulletproof morning routine or an unbroken 30-day alcohol-free streak. It's something much smaller, and honestly, it's more important and more powerful. Today, I'm going to be talking about micro yeses. How these small, tiny, seemingly insignificant decisions are actually the key to making any change last. So, what exactly is a micro yes as I'm defining it? It's any small action that moves you in the direction of your goals, even if it's partial, even if it's messy, even if it's not consistent yet. For example, you pack your gym shoes even if you don't end up going to the gym. For example, you pause before making an impulse purchase on Amazon. For example, you swap fries for a side salad at lunch. For example, you set your phone down after dinner instead of scrolling for minutes or hours. For example, you journal for 2 minutes, even though your goal was to write for 20. These are micro yeses. They are small. They are easy to dismiss, but they are actually how your brain learns to trust that change is possible. And here's what's happening under the surface. Each time you make a small, intentional choice, especially when you don't feel like it, you activate that beautiful logical prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that's responsible for decision-making and long-term thinking. You're interrupting the habitual loop that's often controlled by your lower brain, that basal ganglia area, which loves efficiency, repetition, and the status quo. And over time, those micro yeses create new neural pathways. We call that neuroplasticity. I talk about it all the time, but those micro yeses are important to the process. Psychologist BJ Fogg, who runs the behavior design lab at Stanford, he says that tiny actions repeated consistently change identity. You don't need to be perfect. You need to start small. Every time you say yes to a behavior that supports your goals, even in the tiniest way, you are literally starting that path to rewiring a neural pathway. So why don't we value these micro yeses if they are so important? Because we're conditioned to believe that change has to be big, visible, and immediate. You've heard of that big, hairy, audacious goal, something like that. I hear people use that terminology all the time, that big, hairy, audacious goal. That's the way we are programmed to believe that change is supposed to be big, that we have to have a huge, powerful why. And without those things, if we're taking too small of actions, then they don't count. And because we want to work out 6 days a week, we make one day not count. Because we want to cut out sugar completely, we don't count the fact that we forgo one cookie after a meal. Because we want to meditate for 20 minutes daily, we don't count it when we only can do 5. And we want to quit spending cold turkey, so we don't count that we took a minute and paused before we hit that purchase on Amazon. The goals aren't bad, but when we don't hit them, we often overlook the small decisions that we did make. The walk we took instead of a drive, the single scroll pause before buying, the glass of water before the coffee, the 5 minutes of yoga instead of 0. These things count, not because they're perfect, but because they're evidence. Evidence that you are showing up, evidence that you aren't stuck, and evidence that your brain is capable of adapting and changing. Micro yeses aren't just actions. They are the seeds of a new identity. Each time you choose aligned behavior, even in a small way, you reinforce the belief, this is who I'm becoming. That belief doesn't require a perfect streak. It requires repetition and self-recognition. That's the key, the self-recognition. So often we miss the transformation we're in because we're only tracking results, not evidence of effort. The truth is, effort compounds, even quiet, imperfect effort. So here's your takeaway on this Think Thursday. Where have you said yes to yourself this week, even in a micro way? Maybe you took one deep breath before reacting. Maybe you closed your laptop at 7 instead of 10. Maybe you cooked at home instead of ordering out. Those are chances to see yourself and the progress that you're making. It's change and it's happening. Micro yeses are how real behavior change happens. They don't show up on social media. They won't earn you a badge or a certificate. But they build momentum, they build capability, and eventually confidence. And those are the things that make change stick. So this week, I hope you'll notice your own micro yeses, and I hope you will count them, every single one of them, but at least count the first one and keep going. That's all I have for you this week. Until next time, choose peace. And I will see you on Monday.